Men going their own way is wrecking the economy. More men than ever are walking away from society and not looking back, with over 30 million men having now given up on the workforce, and society, as well as women, are starting to panic. Today's video comes from the Fads channel. His channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go and check his content out. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of so many men walking away from society and why this is now wrecking the economy. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. You never really know what can happen on this platform, so follow us on Rumble just in case. It's linked in the description of the video. And now let's jump into the video. Right.
And nobody knows why. Since the 1950s, the number of prime-aged men, that is, men between the ages of 25 and 54, that are participating in the workforce has steadily declined. This has persisted through times of recession, through times of economic growth, and everything in between. And today in America, they're missing around 5 million of these men from the workforce. These guys are not counted in unemployment statistics because unemployment statistics only count people who are actively seeking work. There's also a problem globally. Around 1 in 5 young people around the world are NEETs, so they're not in education, employment, or training. And what's arguably more interesting is that if you look at the older people, their participation in the workforce has actually steadily increased over the last few decades. Over the last few decades, the number of men aged 60 to 64 who are in the workforce has increased by over 20 percentage points. You would expect these younger men to be healthier and better educated, and therefore be more willing to work. So where have these guys gone, and what does it tell us about the future and the present of work today? Well, there are some theories and we'll try and cover them. Let's try and find out. Other outlets have tried to write about this to varying degrees of success, in my opinion. Fortune magazine wrote a piece about these young men becoming NEETs, not in education, employment, or training. And notably, they didn't actually interview any NEETs, but they did interview people who worked in HR. And this was the explanation that they had to give for why so many young men were dropping out of the workforce. They want the dream job title, the perfect culture fit, and a supreme compensation package right out of the gate, he explains. Instead of being open to decent opportunities as stepping stones, a lot of them would rather ride the unemployment wave while holding out for that unicorn role. Personally, this explanation is kind of bullshit in my opinion. It's not that good of an explanation, and it doesn't even come close to explaining why this might be a trend that has lasted through several decades, through times of economic growth when opportunities were relatively abundant, and through times of recession when they are less abundant. This is very like avocado toast coded. They did not cook with this one. As I say, I think we can do a lot better. And we can do one thing that wasn't really done in this article, which is to investigate what the answers are when you actually just ask these young guys directly why they aren't working. That can be extremely enlightening. So what are the answers that you get when you actually just ask young people directly why they're choosing not to participate in the labour force? If we exclude students from the equation, the biggest reason for prime-age women is taking care of home responsibilities, which might not be that surprising. When we ask men why they aren't working, on the other hand, the number one reason comes out to be illness or disability. Even in the UK, you see that the people who aren't participating in the workforce largely report sickness as their main reason for being economically inactive. So what's happened? Have men just suddenly gotten really sick over the last 50 years? Are they faking it? Well, probably not faking it, because these men are subjectively at least reporting being less happy, more sad, and more stressed, even than unemployed men who are seeking work. Most of these guys, I would say, are legitimately unwell, but maybe not in the ways that you might necessarily expect at first glance. Nearly half of prime-age men who are not in the labour force take pain medication on any given day. And of those guys, around 2/3 actually take prescription pain medication every day. I've talked briefly about the opioid epidemic and its effects, but they are super wide-ranging. Since 1999, the number of men who report feeling pain has stayed constant, while the number of prescription opioids has tripled. The men who have dropped out of the workforce seem to be concentrated in areas that have really suffered from the opioid crisis.
Let me make this very clear that it's not a result of opioids why men are dropping out of the workforce. Men are treated horribly in society. If you look at the statistics in the United States alone for, self-control all deletions, men make up 80% of all control deletions in the United States, just the US alone, and yet there is no support system for men. If this was a number for women, if this was women, if 80% of women, if women made up the 80% of the control all deletions, it would be a national crisis. There would be a massive outcry. All right. But when it comes to men, it's unanimously men and no one cares. All right. You've got guys like Richard Reeves, this an agent of the state, a master simp that's saying that men need to learn how to sacrifice themselves, and it's about giving more than you receive, and you will have a legacy of sacrifice. Who wants you to sacrifice yourself? Who wants you to make sacrifices? Satan. Okay, you have to understand that these people have the Jezebel spirit within them. They want to destroy you. Statistically, fathers have the worst hearts. You are more likely to pass away at a young age. You are more likely to have horrible health and serious health conditions if you are a married man, and more so if you are a father. Being a father is being a father is a strong indicator if a man will develop heart disease, cancer, hypertension, and all of these conditions. Because we already know where fatherhood leads to. It leads to child support. It leads to extraordinary amounts of stress. Modern women do not like us. They are gaslighting us hardcore, and they will never ever stop. And if there are any women who say, talk about this and say what modern women are doing, they'll try to shut them down or gaslight them. You cannot. You can't reach a woman. You can't. It's impossible to reach women. Impossible. There's this notion that, well, women will listen to other women. No, they won't. If you observe how women don't vote for other women. Mm-mm. Women do not. Women are not more likely to vote for another woman if it's another woman. Nope. They will vote for the person 99.9% of the time who will give them more benefits and more entitlements, which are predominantly men. Just look at the statistics. So if it's a bunch of men like, yeah, yes, sweetie, we're gonna give you all of this free money. We understand you, baby girl. You have certain needs. We're gonna meet those needs. And then you have other women who are like talking about responsibility and morality. They're going to vote for these horrible individuals, for these men, these terrible men, 99% of the times, because these men are enabling them. All right. These say the same men that will be there lecturing women that it's their right to go and delete their control alt delete their gestations. They'll vote for these men. They will vote for these men that are literally telling women what to do with their bodies while saying that it's her right. Okay, versus women who say, no, you need to actually have self-control and blah blah blah, and no, they will go and vote for these men. That's how women operate. If a woman tries to speak truth to another woman, it will go in one ear and come out the other. If a woman is in a relationship with friends, female friends, who tell them the truth and say, listen, sweetie, you're not right. For example, you want me to sit here and tell you that you're in great shape, you're physically attractive. No, you're overweight. You need to drop some weight. This other woman will end that friendship and call her a hater. If you're dealing with a woman who's been in a ton of relationships with toxic men, and she has a friend that tells her the problem is you are choosing these men, she will end that relationship and find someone and go to her simps that will make her feel safe in her delusion. You cannot reach modern women. It's impossible to reach them, and you should not even try, because you're dealing with people who do not even like you in the first place. Specifically, because if you're a man, I've already told you this. When women by default are given the roles as agents of the state, and it's their job to reallocate wealth and resources from men to the state, and they are rewarded for it. And they do this through the court system, through family court, through criminal court, through civil court. The state does not care as long as they do this, and then everyone gets a cut. If a woman stands against the state and says, yeah, these things I don't approve of, I don't like these things, and I don't support these things, she is now an enemy of the state. And you'll have these awful people now say, because keep in mind, women enjoy a certain amount of privilege where there's certain things you cannot say to a woman or say about a woman. But if she is not operating as an agent of the state, she will now be deemed an enemy of the state, and they will treat her very much the way that they will treat a man. They will give her the longest of prison sentences. They will defame her. They will try to destroy her life and her livelihood. That is how our corrupt society actually works, and it's all because of the simps. The simps are, modern women could not have done what they've done without the simps, and simps are agents of the state. A simps job is to reallocate wealth and resources from from men to the state, and they do it in very similar ways as women, but at the same time, they do it by betraying men and betraying masculinity, and they are rewarded with by access to resources and kitty, because a lot of these men would never reproduce in the first place. They would not be men who would reproduce in the first place. So by betraying men, by betraying masculinity, the state basically gives them special privileges. Look at the companies, these video game companies or tech companies, after that have gone full blown woke, and now it's all DEI hires everywhere. What men are left behind? What heterosexual men are left at these companies? A bunch of simps. It's the men who pushed for these things. It's the men who advocated for these things that are now allies. Okay, these degenerate Jezebel spirited filled individuals. Those are the men that are still there because they are agents of oppression. They are agents of the state. They are horrible individuals that cannot be trusted, and they will never take any accountability for the evil that they have done upon society. And these are just some of the reasons that lead to men walking away, realizing that, hey, I'm never going to get married, I'm never going to have children, I'm not going to have a relationship, nor do I want these things. I'm not going to I'm not going to sacrifice everything for someone who does not even like me. That is absolute BS. I am not their SLAVE. I am not the property of the state. They're the property of the state. I am not. Okay. And what ended up happening, is women basically traded men for the state. Women don't understand that now they are under the full authority of the state. And the state, for example, look at China, look at the CCP. The CCP 20 years ago punished women if they had more than one kid. Now, 20 years later, they are punishing women if they have less than three, because they didn't realize the gender imbalance they were going to create in the country. And now the boomers over in the country are panicking because there's no revenue there's no money being made in society. They don't have future generations anymore. They're not going to be many. There's not going to be any future generations because people are not having kids. You have entire villages that are shutting down, and now you have like a significant portion of the population that's in their 60s and 70s. Something like in like 10 or 20 years, something like half of all of China will be pensioners. People in their 60s and 70s, half of the entire country will be people who are old people who are past prime working age. This is why I've already told you guys, like, don't depend on Gen Z. No one's coming to save you. Gen X, I don't really get Gen X, older millennials, Zennials, you should know better. Don't, no one's coming to save you. There's nothing, there's not going to be anything there for you. You need to be like Super Saiyan. You need to be like Saiyans. All right. You have to keep stay fit, stay strong. At 70 years old, you need to be like 40. I'm just being real. If you can get it down to 30, get it down to 30. Hopefully technology will have progressed by then. But you basically plan to work and keep on and taking care of yourself into old age, because no one is coming to save you. Gen Z will be in the retirement homes before the boomers. I'm not playing around. I am not exaggerating. I'm not even just simply trying to be funny. Okay. I am being accurate. Gen Zers, these good for nothing muffins, will be in the retirement homes before the boomers. People are like, no, angry or wrong about this. I'm telling you, you're angry. You're going a little too far on this. I'm telling you, they're going to be in the homes before the boomers. Before the boomers predominantly begin. It really may not even happen like that. Before the boomers predominantly begin occupying these retirement homes, real retirement homes. Not talking about those luxurious retirement communities. That's not a retirement home. That's a country club, bro. That's a country club. That's a country club that you get to live at. No. I'm talking about like real old folks' homes where there's a bunch of old people sitting around playing cards. That's going to be the Gen Z will be there before the boomers. These are bad people, bro, and they're aging like milk. 100%. I mean, like 20 years old. Like, guys, have you seen like Millie Bobby Brown? Oh my gosh, girl is only like 20, 21 years old. She looks so damn old. like from 17 to 20, she just aged rapidly. And everyone's like, how the hell did this happen? I'll tell you how it happened. God has given that generation over to their sins, and that's why they look so bad. It's a lot. A big part of it is their diet, but but another part is that they lack spirituality and morality, and they have gone downhill. And God has given them over to their sins. They weren't meant to be here that long. I said it plenty of times. Gen Zers were not meant to be here that long. They are bad people, and they are going to meet the King sooner than later. Sooner than later, they're going to meet the King, and they will have to answer for what they have done. Your focus right now, and that's what most men are doing, are focusing on getting their money and living simple lives of luxury and comfort. One of the best ways to do that is using crypto, because hard times are coming, guys. You know, don't wait until the ATMs are not working anymore. The bank doors are chained up. You need to learn how to protect your wealth, safeguard your future. You can see what's happening with BRICS right now. BRICS is, Trump is trying to stop BRICS, but BRICS is basically the next big thing. It's a blockchain platform that allows for international transfer of money between countries to settle payments. It will evidently support a wide range of cryptocurrencies, and it will also have its own cryptocurrency referred to as the unit. And of course, and when you look at what's happening in Japan right now, for example, they're censoring manga, they're censoring anime, they're censoring various forms of media. Even Nintendo, I'll talk about this in another video, even Nintendo is no longer accepting foreign payment methods, or even PayPal in Japan anymore, because of the heavy censorship that's going on. So they're going to need a new payment platform. I definitely think X payments will make a big difference, hopefully, and they'll start accepting X payments to settle payments. But at the same time, BRICS will be can be a major force for these countries to be able to send and receive money and not have U.S. intervention. Because unless Trump right now, he's trying hard to address DEI, but if you look at discriminatory practices happening at Visa and MasterCard, which basically control your ability to buy and sell things around the world, they're censoring other countries right now to push DI initiatives, while allowing only fools payments to go through 99% of the time. So we're heading for a major collapse globally. You want to safeguard your future. You want to safeguard your wealth. You don't want to end up like during the Greek economic crisis, where people could only take $50 out of specific ATMs every single day, the equivalent out. And you had teenagers selling physical intimacy for €3, and you jokers were like angry that's still €2 too many. All right, because the price of a cheese sandwich. I'm telling y'all, you're like, listen, if they want that cheese sandwich, then they can go and speak. They can go with 3 different guys. All right, it's not a lot of work. It's not a lot of work. All right. They really want an entire cheese sandwich all to themselves just for one go. I don't think so. All right. If they want that cheese sandwich, they need to put in some work. What's that? Like what? A half an hour, like what, 45 minutes, 1 hour of work? Yeah, they're standing around, but they'll find someone. 3 guys. That's your cheese sandwich right there. All right. A €1, €1 around. €1 around every pop. Okay. That's you take 3 guys, you made enough for your cheese sandwich. Maybe you have even a little bit for a bottle of water. If you don't, go and get that 4th guy. Now you have money for that bottle of water, and you get to eat for the day. You don't want to end up like these people over there, guys. All right, definitely go and check out Anger's Crypto Academy. We teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. We'll teach you exactly which coins will mint new millionaires, and how to spot potential coins to invest in. Don't miss out. The Academy's linked description of the video, guys. I mean, hard times are definitely coming in Western society, and it's because people have been sitting around and playing around and fooling around, why they're going to get caught up in all of this right now. That's why I said that, the average man can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road. The average woman can. The average woman is screwed. The average woman is between a rock and a hard place. And all of that grant money is now going. Trump he put a hold on grants and loans, and then he had to revoke it because of like federal judge, because they were like, they don't know what it covers. But I believe he's going to actually reissue it, and he's going to reissue it very specifically and make it much more narrow. And as a result of that, then it will be much easier to have it enforced. So I think that's something that we're definitely going to see. Now, their argument is that only Congress can determine how grants money is spent, but I don't know about that. So we're going to see. But one way or another, even if Trump doesn't get to do, even if it doesn't go through immediately, that's going to be one of the first things that he's going to be working towards, when he starts putting his bills out there, because they're going to start passing a series of bills. The Republican Senate, Republican Congress, because we have both the House and the Senate. A lot of the executive orders that Trump has been putting out there right now, these things are going to be passed into law. They are 100% going to be passed into law. Many of them will. There will be pushback. There will be some Republicans who try to push back. Many of those Republicans who do try to push back against Trump right now, they will find themselves thrown out. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of Trump, because Trump will basically campaign against you. He will put your name on blast. He'll put you on a TV screen. He'll put you on X. He'll put you on Truth Social. He will blast you. Elon will blast you, and they will get you out of those positions. All right. Do not vote for this person. And the way that things are right now with Trump, he has extraordinary amounts of support. If you look at the kinds of people that are being taken into custody right now, they are the absolute worst of the worst. And people are like, how did Biden ever allow this to happen? It had to be intentional. So you really don't want to mess with Trump. You have Panama and Greenland right now saying they're going to fight Trump. If he tries to take the Panama Canal, if he tries to take Greenland, and Trump is like, look at what Trump did with Colombia. They were like, we're not going to take certain people back. Trump is like, all right, well, we're going to put massive tariffs on you. We're going to ban your people from traveling here. We're going to withdraw all kinds of privileges, and we're going to punish you hard. And within a short period of time, Colombia caved in. So this is exactly where we're going. And then Trump posts like a picture. It's like he posted a picture of himself dressed like a mafiosa with the words FAFO. F around, find out. And it's not a game. So I don't think anyone's going to want to say no to Trump. So he's going to, a lot of the executive orders that he's putting into place now, those are going to be passed into laws, I truly believe. I also think that Trump may end up getting a third term. And they'll look at a bunch of different ways of going about it. And the first way is more than likely going to be to use an executive order to certify the position of the state that, based on the fact that he did not serve 2 consecutive terms, he is actually allowed to run for a third term. And as a result of that, it is my belief, as a result of that, he very well is going to become much harder, much more difficult for him to, because it's basically that executive order will serve as kind of a declaration. Now, can a federal judge put that on hold? I don't know, because it's more of a declaration, in the sense that this is just it's just clarifying what the what the policy of the United States government is, and the policy and the Constitution, based on the review by the White House. Now, of course, they can challenge it in the Supreme Court, but whether or not the Supreme Court is going to side with Trump or against Trump is very, very questionable, especially when you have people like, what's his name, like Clarence Thomas and a variety of others in there that are right leaning. They're Republicans. It's possible he may lose, but he very well may not. And if that's probably the first step that he will take to running again, because I don't think that JD Vance is ready for the job. I think that JD Vance is an interesting person, but I don't know if I would honestly support JD Vance, in the simple sense that he does not have a lot of energy. He's not a high energy person. I think that we have to see more from him. We have to hear more from him. He's not Trump. He's not a person that's going to be everywhere. He's not a person that's going to be very present. I think that the best person is going to be Vivek Ramaswamy, because I feel like Vivek, even though I don't agree with everything that Vivek says, I feel like Vivek Ramaswamy, he has those qualities and characteristics much closer to Trump, in the sense that he can get things done. He's very high energy. He's all over the place. He can operate evidently on very little sleep. He knows how to, he understands people much better, being a garbage man, doing this. I feel like he's a good kid, and I feel much better electing someone like Vivek, because I feel like he encompasses more so Trump than JD Vance. I feel like the reason why Trump chose JD Vance, especially for vice president, was because JD Vance was going to be someone that would follow, basically do as he's told, and he would not overshadow Trump, while Vivek could potentially try to overshadow Trump. And Vivek is like, he's almost a billionaire. These people are almost a little, like, I don't want to say psycho. They're psycho. They have these psycho. I don't know what the right term is, but narcissistic tendencies. Basically, to get to that level, you have to have like high levels of self-esteem and a variety of other factors. So you have to be very dominant in some ways. And it would be too much having his personality as well as Trump. It just wouldn't work out. But I definitely think that it's a good. He's running. He's going to be running for governor. I hope he wins. But I think that my money is on Vivek right now in terms of someone to replace Trump. But I don't think Trump should be going anywhere for the next 8 years. I think that Trump needs another term because there's just so much to do in 4 years, and then we have a lot of other things that need to get done after that as well. So we need, the country didn't fall apart in 4 years. It was something that happened over a long period of time, and Trump did a lot trying to fix it. But things are so bad right now, it's going to take more than 4 years to get a lot of the people out of, deal with a lot of the people who are here that really shouldn't be here. It's going to take a better part of a decade to probably clear out a lot of this. Like, I mean, to maybe even get half, if even half of them out, but at least the worst ones, at least the criminals. So I think that's a big thing to consider. Ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy, to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom, it's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now.
Participation has fallen even more in US counties where more opioid pain medication is prescribed. However, these guys are surviving somehow, right? Because you can't survive without any money. Almost half of these people are on some form of disability insurance or some form of disability payment. And disability payments don't just cover physical ailments, but also mental health conditions. And around 1/3 of all disability payouts in the US, at least, go to people with some kind of mental health condition, whether that's a depressive condition, a psychotic disorder, or any other kind of mental disorder. A good chunk of these people are inactive, not because of necessarily just physical ailments, but because of mental health as well. A little bit somber, but in the UK, suicide is actually the biggest killer of men under 50. Globally, men make up around 3/4 of all suicides. And mental health is like an important component to this. I think you can't ignore it. And therefore, it's not that surprising that people who choose to not participate in the workforce report really low levels of emotional well-being and very little meaning from their daily activities. They're not quitting the workforce in order to be like freeloaders and to, live off the government purse. Rather, they're clearly unhappy in this state. Praise the Sun says, doesn't that mean they live in poverty? Yeah, they live in effective poverty because disability payments are not that great. However, I think it's impossible to talk about this without also talking about the experience of those people who have chosen to actively seek work and have found that the experience has been getting steadily worse and worse. We have phenomenons like job listings for positions that are just non-existent, and the overall level of competition has gotten harder and harder. Interview requirements are getting more strict. Employment criteria is getting more strict, and that can definitely have an effect in making people feel just like disillusioned with the workforce more broadly. Many of them actually report that the lack of skills is the biggest barrier for them getting back into work.
The reality is that men have nothing left to work for. Men are not working for a family, they're not working for children. So instead, they're just working for themselves and their own survival. And when a man does not have to work to subsidize the living of a woman, when a man is only working to provide for himself and focusing solely on himself, then he doesn't have to work as hard. He doesn't have to worry about, the ups and downs and all this other garbage. He can take all his money as his money. He basically can, he can spend his money on himself. He does not have to be out there grinding. Once a man's basic needs are met, once he has a roof over his head, roof over his head, food, a place to sleep, and some entertainment, he doesn't care. And there are a lot of women who are like, oh, how can you live like that? But a lot of men can live very well, and men are minimalist by nature. But keep in mind, even as a minimalist, even as a man who's choosing to be single, these things are one-time purchases. Think about this. You have your home, you have it furnished, you have a couch, you have a television, you have everything that you need in your home. You're not constantly buying new furniture. You're not constantly buying a new bed. You're not constantly buying new clothing as a man. In fact, you can now buy quality clothing. You can buy a quality pair of Levi jeans that's going, from the past when they were made, when the material was better. That's going to last another 20 or 30 years. You can buy clothing, high quality, or clothing for overseas that is made high quality. You can spend a bit more on your clothes. Some guys don't even give a damn. They'll just buy stuff from Walmart, and when it starts to rip apart, they'll buy something new. All right, many guys won't even go that far. So as a result of that, you buy stuff, you take care of it, and that's it. You wash your clothes, you prepare your own food, you learn how to cook. Most women view cooking and cleaning as a form of oppression, so they can't even do these things for themselves. Men, on the other hand, they learn how to do this. They learn how to clean. They learn how to cook. So they take care of themselves. They clean their homes. They cook for themselves. They provide for themselves. They learn how to fix things themselves. Anything they can't do, they outsource it, and they live simple lives of luxury and comfort. And they're not weighted down with all kinds of crap. Instead of collecting, just women collect men collect things like games, men collect things like trading cards, men collect things like comic books, men collect various kinds of cryptos. Meme coins are a big thing. Collecting meme coins is going to be a big thing for a lot of guys. Like, oh, do you have this meme coin? No, I have this one. You want to trade? I'll trade, give you one of mine for this. Like, this is what men are up to. Like, trading, I think that trading meme coins is going to be another big thing, especially when you have like limited edition meme coins. Like right now, that they're like, people are making meme coins, and it's like it's all about, okay, I'm going to make all of these meme coins, and I'm trying to look for the way of describing it. I'm going to make all of these meme coins, and we're going to try to make money. But I think one of the big things for communities will actually be like, even like YouTubers not creating meme coins to make money, but making meme coins to bring the community together. So you might make something like, let's say, 100,000 coins, or even 50,000 coins, and then say, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to make any profit off this. Like, I'll make them available on this exchange. I'll put them for like $1 a pop, because it's only like 50,000 of them. If someone goes and buys all of them, then so be it. But I'll make them $50,000 a pop. I'll buy some myself, and then the rest of the community, can also buy them and sell them amongst themselves. And it's just it's something fun that people have. And oh yeah, I've like, some of these angry coins, and it's like, it's a part of the community. Or I have some Endymion, or I have some or I have some Dr. Disaster, or some Varadark. I would buy Varadark coins. I would buy Varadark coins. Oh gosh, I've thought about like I said, I've thought about asking Vara to come and do a live stream with me. I don't know. She's a sweetie. She's a sweetie. She's such a little sweetie. But I don't know. I've got to think on it, because, like, I mean, I should have asked Soraya to be back on a long time ago. I think I had Soraya on it feels like almost a year ago at this point. It's so amazing. Soraya's channel, S to the B. You should definitely go check her out. I constantly feature her work. I featured a lot of her work in the past. Such a lovely lady. Uh, you know, I feel like it's been like a year since I've had her on. Her channel has grown so much, so she has like 22,000 subscribers, which is incredible. I could tell from the very get go that she was going to blow up, and I wanted to make base with her and link up with her. So that's pretty cool that I was able to get to know her a little bit. But she's done so phenomenal. I can't wait to see what she does next, and the quality of her content has also improved so much. She's doing great. But yeah, I mean, it's really this is just really how things are going. As men, we don't need much to survive. The average man can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road. The average woman cannot. Women need so much to be happy. Men need very little to be happy. And guys, what a lot of men are doing is they're doing things like trading crypto right now, doing day trading crypto, which is something, by the way, that you guys should all be learning how to do, because it's a survival skill. It's an incredible survival skill. And days when you don't have any money coming in, you can just day trade small amounts and make some money that day. You can use bots to help you facilitate the trading, and you don't have to be a genius to do it. It's so simple. We actually teach you how to do this in Angry Crypto Academy, and it's so simple that even a fifth grader can do it. I just want to tell you a little bit about the Crypto Trading for Dummies blueprint. With this blueprint, you'll learn how crypto day trading can help you earn daily profits, even starting small. Imagine making $30 a day with $100, or even hundreds daily trading small amounts, working just an hour a day. It's written so simply that even a fifth grader can do it. With banks collapsing and the economy in chaos, this skill is your lifeline. Click the link in the description to check it out now.
Illness or disability, because once a person has been out of the workforce for any significant amount of time, it can feel like the skills gap simply widens every year, and it can make it more and more difficult for them to re-enter the workforce. The opportunities that they need, the entry-level jobs that they need, have effectively vanished and been replaced with jobs that require significant level of self-training. That's what's considered an entry-level job now. They basically don't have the skills to be able to re-enter the workforce, because the jobs that would take people who wanted to re-enter, the entry-level jobs, have slowly been disappearing. You need like experience to get a job, but you need a job to get experience. And if you tap out of the workforce, you can rapidly end up in a situation where you can't get back into work. And even if you can, those jobs might not be able to offer you the support, the insurance, or the pay to be able to compensate for whatever disability you may also have. So the jobs that are available are just a complete mismatch for what people actually need. The jobs that are available wouldn't incentivize them to return to work. They don't pay enough. They don't provide the right health provisions. Jobs that would match up with these people have disappeared. So you might wonder, right, bad mental and physical health are driving them out of the workforce. And, the geography of the opioid epidemic has driven people out of the workforce, as well as disability. But why is this trend flipped for older people then? Why are older people participating more and more in the workforce today than any time in the last few decades, despite the fact that they are more likely to be not fit to work more broadly, right? And, well, people smarter than me have also asked that same question. There's a big research project called the International Social Security Project, and the whole deal of these guys is to investigate different pension plans, state pension plans across the world, and figure out how that's been affecting people's decision to work. And basically, these older people are working because they have no choice. So these guys looked at 12 different countries, and up until the mid-90s, the number of older men in the workforce was steadily decreasing. These people were choosing to retire, and they were able to retire. But since the 90s, the trend has been consistently upwards in this U-shape across wealthy nations. Or these people are not working necessarily because they want to, but rather because they have to. In the study of 12 countries, they found that 9 countries raised the earliest age at which you can retire, and another 9 countries lowered the generosity of the benefits. But even when the raises came, they were typically harder to access because one had to wait longer to be able to access them. A unique case goes on when you look at the US though, because the US hasn't actually had a major pension reform since the 80s. And yet they've still seen this same trend of older people spending more and more time in the workforce. Despite the fact that they haven't seen a pension reform, they have actually seen other kinds of reform, specifically to disability and unemployment insurance, which have gotten harder and harder to access. And these are obviously huge lifelines for elderly people. The US's decision to make disability and unemployment insurance more and more difficult to access has potentially begun to reverse the trend in younger men as well. Because if we look at the post-COVID information, you can see that since the big dip in the pandemic, the number of men who are participating in the labor force has slowly started to increase. It's currently back to around like 2008 levels, which is still way, way below what it was in, the 90s and the early 2000s and any time before that. But American men are getting back to work. And this sounds like a good thing, right? It means that these people who were formerly NEETs are now actually like getting outside and socializing. But when you look at the numbers in terms of the disability statistics, I start to question how good of a thing this actually is. Because in the last 10 years, the number of men in the US on disability has dropped from 4.6 million to 3.7 million. Basically, 900,000 people are no longer claiming disability. And I'll let you decide if you think that 900,000 Americans have gotten suddenly healthier over the last decade. I don't know. Labor force participation rates are increasing and disability insurance claimants are decreasing, but there's not much evidence to suggest that this is a result of people actually getting healthier. And rather, it seems to me to at least imply that it's a result of these benefits being simply more difficult to access. At least that's my speculation. So American men are getting back to work, but I don't know if this is necessarily a good thing. Like this issue here, this issue of men leaving the labor force is, I think, a stark reminder of the state of both physical and mental health in, the modern world today. But it's also, I believe, a signal of broader trends, of broader societal attitudes towards work more generally. Because there is a decent chunk of people who are healthy and still choosing to exit the workforce. These people are called in and outs. And
American men are not getting back to work. American men are very much done with work and they're gaslighting. And they will try to spread these lies so that panic does not take over. The reality is men are done with society. They're done with relationships in society and they want to essentially just focus on themselves and their relationships with God. They're much happier being alone. Once a man learns how to be alone, once a man learns how to control his lust and his fear of being alone, he realizes just how boring most relationships with women are today and how the average woman has really nothing of value to contribute to a relationship or to say, because they're not they're not forced to develop their personalities and their character because they live off their looks for the vast majority of their lives. And then when that starts to fade, they become very tired. They're already tyrannical, but they become furious because they're not getting the same rewards and benefits that they were getting just for their physical appearance throughout most of their lives, and now they want to use the state to punish men because they want the benefits they've been receiving for free because they're basically they were born with a credit card and now they've maxed it out, and instead of finding a good man during that period in their life where they had the opportunity to, they basically were in the streets, and now it's from the streets that they came, and it's to the streets that they shall return. And it's just how it is. They have not built anything for themselves. They have not built a family for themselves. They have not built a community for themselves or integrated themselves into a community. So they have neither. They will be excluded from both the community as well as the family unit. And they will find themselves, back in the streets for the vast majority of their lives, especially the latter years of their lives. They started out in the streets and then they shall return to the streets. And of course, when they return to the streets, we all know where that leads. The streets leads to the church, and the church leads back to the streets, which is why Uncle Angry often says, stay off the streets and out of the church, because the streets lead to the church leads to the streets, the streets lead to OnlyFans, only fools leads to the street, leads to the church, and it's a vicious and virtuous, it's a vicious cycle. It's not virtuous. There's nothing virtuous about it. It's a vicious cycle that continues to repeat itself. And modern women cannot really escape it because they were not raised to be wives and mothers. They were raised to be independent women that don't need no man. Of course, they damn well know they can't survive without us, but they'll never admit to it. And they will basically, in their own arrogance and delusion, double down on this, even if it means the end of their existence upon this, in this realm of existence. But that's how modern women operate. That's how modern women think. And this is one of the reasons why so many men are done with these relationships and they're just focusing on themselves. Because, once, guys, a nice gaming PC or a gaming laptop, these are one-time purchases. And I don't care about your preferences. I like gaming laptops. A lot of people like gaming laptops. A lot of people prefer gaming PCs. It really depends. Some people do both. I personally like both, but I really like laptops because of their portability, my lifestyle right now, the ability to take my laptop with me, just like toss it in a suitcase and travel around the world. Don't forget that I am an expat, so being able to having that mobility is extremely important to me. Some of you are like, "Well, I'm staying in one place." Yeah, and that's perfectly fine if that works for you. But for me, I like the flexibility of being able to take my laptop with me and go anywhere. Like, I can gather up all my electronics, fit them in my suitcase, my pull bag, and I'm gone, and I can be in another country, relocate with just like one bag, like literally one bag. I can have everything I own in there quite comfortably, you know, and I can be gone with the wind. The only thing that I probably would not be bringing with me overseas would be my gaming collection. I'd probably leave that with someone in the United States, or put that into storage. Like I have a small gaming collection, and that's the only thing I would either bring it with me or I'd sell it off. But that's about it. You know, I don't have anything else holding me back, so I like that flexibility. And I think a lot of men like that flexibility as well. So for most men, like we can basically, we don't need much to survive. And a gaming laptop or a gaming PC or a PlayStation 5 or whatever, or for the few of you that still play Xbox or a Switch, these are one-time purchases. And once you've purchased it, you own it. And you have your games, you play your games. Most men don't need more than a handful of games. A lot of men are only playing the same damn game over and over. Like, I have so many games. I've already told you about this, but like, I mean, in terms of like games just on Steam, I have hundreds of games on Steam. I have over 700 games on Steam. I have over 300 games on GOG. I have 365 games on GOG. I have 705 games on Steam right now. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of games on Nintendo Switch. I have no idea how. Well, I know I do have an idea of how many I have. I have dozens of games because I mean, I typically buy the digital version as well as the physical version of a game, and I have over 50 brand new unopened games right now. Switch games, which I've just been building up over the last couple of months since Black Friday. I've built up a collection of over 50 sealed games, and then I also have for most of them I also have the physical. I also have the digital version. So I more than likely have well over 50 Nintendo Switch games digitally, maybe pushing towards 70 games. Maybe somewhere between 70 and 100. I don't know, but I have over 50 of them. So I mean, I have a large collection of Switch games digitally, a large collection of Switch games physically, a large collection of Steam a large collection of games on Steam. Like I said, over 700 games on Steam. Uh, I mean, over 300 games on GOG, and GOG allows you to download the installers. So wherever I go, I will have my entertainment with me. I have a good amount of cryptocurrency stocked away, so it doesn't matter where I go. I will have my crypto. I can access my crypto anywhere in the world. And aside from my electronics, I've got my MacBook, and I've got MacBook uh my MacBook Pro. I've got a MacBook Air. I have my Rogue G Strix. So I originally actually had a, what do you call it? I had a Zephyrus, and I had so many problems with the Zephyrus. It was dead on arrival. I bought it brand new from Best Buy, and had a lot of problems with it. So then I ended up going out and getting the Strix, and it was the best decision I could ever have made. The Strix is an amazing device. If you guys want a gaming laptop, go with the Asus ROG Strix. Get a Strix series. They are absolutely beast. They have much better airflow, and because the thermals are better on them, that means that you can have a higher wattage, and because you can have a higher wattage, that means that the mobile discrete GPU can get more power because it can get more power. It can achieve a higher clock speed. It can have better performance, and and the screen on it is just mind blowing. There are different versions of the Strix. Just to be very clear, the one I have has a 240 hertz display. There's also one and it's a what is it? It's a 1440p display. It supports 1440p. It's a little higher than that, but it supports 1440p. There's a version that has a 1080p display. I think it's 144 hertz in terms of screen, but that's also a very good one. That one comes with a 4060 GPU. The GPU on my Strix is a 4070 GPU. And what I actually did was, there's no reason to ever do what Uncle Angry has done, but I actually have 96 gigabytes of RAM on my machine, on my Strix. So I upgraded to 96 gigabytes of RAM, and that's one of the great things because you can put more RAM into it, and you could also there's also 2 slots for SSDs. So it came with 1 terabyte. It came with 1 terabyte of space, and then I upgraded it to added in the additional slot. I added another 4 terabytes of space, and I got it cheap off during the sale. During the sale, it was like $200 for like 4 terabytes. So I added another 4 terabytes in there. So it's now a total of 5 terabytes of space in there. And I really want to go up to 8 terabytes when I can afford it. When it's because it's like $500, $600 for 8 terabyte stick. So when it's like on deal, when I see a nice deal for it, then I might jump in. I don't, because I've already used up most of those 4 terabytes just downloading games for my collection. It's only a tiny fraction of the games I've downloaded on 4 terabytes. But keep in mind, I have over 700 games, so consider that. But all in all, like I'm pretty much balling out right now in terms of my collection of games, the tech that I have access to. I can pretty much buy whatever I want. I've got some great, I've got the phone. I really enjoy my phone. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the things that I have. And I would never be able to enjoy these things if I had children. I'm constantly working on my finances, working on myself, working on my relationship with God, which is what you guys should honestly be doing. You should not be focusing on modern women. You should not be focusing on being directly involved with them. And it's a waste of time. You can see that men going their own way, they're wrecking the economy because they're no longer putting in the long hours. Men pay 80% of all taxes within society, while women make 80% of all consumer purchases. The average man will leave a surplus on the economy over the course of his life. So he'll put more money into the economy than he takes out over the course of his life. The average woman will leave a deficit on the economy over the course of her life, meaning she will take more money out of the economy than she puts in. So as men are walking away from society and they're refusing to put this money into society, they're refusing to subsidize women, it's going to create extraordinary hardships and turmoil globally, and men are not going to help. And women are now basically at the mercy of the state that tells them to just, when the state says jump, they have to jump. And they think that they're going to say, when tyranny starts taking over, men help, and men are just going to look and whisper no. Anyway, what do you guys think regarding all of this? Men going their own way are wrecking the economy, and most men just don't care. And I say men are never going back. Women are going to be finding themselves in extraordinary states of poverty and destitution. They're going to have to go hang out with Yogi and Boo Boo in the woods. They chose the bear, so now they can go live with him. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.